Elizabeth inherited an old house from her grandfather, who was a scientist and an inventor. He conducted experiments in the house that were shrouded in mystery, and many rumors circulated about the strange things that happened there. Elizabeth was fascinated by the stories and couldn't wait to explore the house. Once Elizabeth moved into the house, she began to experience strange and terrifying events. She saw apparitions of her grandfather, who seemed to be trying to communicate with her, and heard eerie noises that seemed to be coming from within the walls. Elizabeth began to suspect that her grandfather had left something behind in the house, something dark and sinister. As Elizabeth tries to leave the house, she finds that the door is locked. She starts looking for another way out, but all the doors and windows are also locked. Fear grips Elizabeth as she realizes that the house is playing tricks on her mind. She continues to see visions that seem real, but she's not sure if they're actually happening. Gradually, Elizabeth begins to understand that her grandfather wasn't just conducting experiments in the house, he had a power that could create illusions and control people. And her grandfather passed that power onto his house, which is now trying to lock Elizabeth inside. Elizabeth realizes that she must resist the house and her grandfather's legacy. She finds an ancient ritual in the house that could help her defeat the ominous force that inhabits it. With her grandfather's diary and her own skills, Elizabeth begins to perform the ritual. But she notices that the house is starting to resist her actions. The walls begin to shake, windows break, and furniture moves on its own. In the end, Elizabeth overcomes the power of the house and frees herself. But she understands that her grandfather's legacy won't end here. She must find a way to destroy the house and prevent the tragedies that could happen if it remains. The story ends with Elizabeth returning to the house to conduct further research and find a way to destroy it. But she faces new horrors and dangers that could change her life forever. When Jack and Emily bought a new house in the countryside, they were very excited. They were looking for a house with a large piece of land to start planting their own vegetables and fruits, as well as for their children to run and play outside. But from the first days in the new house, strange things began to happen to Jack and Emily. They heard noises at night, felt someone's presence in the rooms, and often found objects that had been moved from one place to another. Jack and Emily initially thought it was just their imagination, but over time they realized that something was not right. One night, when they were sleeping, Jack woke up from someone whispering. He looked at his wife and saw that she had also woken up and was looking at him. They heard the door lock opening and something rustling in the hallway. They decided to go and check what was happening. They went to the hallway and saw a woman in a white dress pass by them and disappear into thin air. Jack and Emily were shocked. They realized that the house was cursed, and that there was a ghost living in it. They could not continue to live in this house and decided to sell it. But no one wanted to buy it, as everyone knew about the curse. Jack and Emily decided to seek the help of experts in spiritual cleansing. The experts performed a ritual and were able to cleanse the house of the curse. Now Jack and Emily have been living in this house for many years, and they have not noticed any strange occurrences. They learned to respect the spiritual world and realized that we cannot ignore the signs given to us by higher powers. When Jane moved into her new home, she was very excited about her purchase. The house was big and beautiful, and she had many plans for decorating and making it cozy. However, soon after moving in, Jane began to notice strange things in her new home. Some of her things began to disappear. She heard footsteps and voices that had no explanation, and she had the feeling that someone was watching her. Jane decided to reach out to her neighbors to see if they knew what was happening in her home. She was surprised to find out that all the neighbors she asked had similar stories with their own homes. It turned out that there was a legend in the area about ghosts that inhabit new homes and cause confusion for new residents. Jane was shocked and scared, but she decided not to panic and find a way to solve the problem. She began to study the history of her home and learned that in the past, when the house was first built, there was a cemetery on the land. Jane realized that spirits could be unhappy and needed to be heard. She began to hold ceremonies and prayers in honor of the spirits that inhabited her home, and gradually began to notice that strange occurrences stopped. She began to feel more confident and comfortable in her new home. Now, Jane has become not only a resident of this house but also its protector. She shared her knowledge and experience with her neighbors to help them also build relationships with the spirits of their homes.